Hi everyone, welcome to a new video series on The Ultimatum Queer Love on Netflix. And in this video, I'm going to analyze what happened between Lexi and Vanessa at the start of the series and the resulting rivalry, which is far beyond just jealousy and fighting over Ray. So the usual disclaimers, I've seen the finale and the reunion at this point, so spoiler alert. And I understand that it is an edited TV show. I'm only analyzing the people based on what's been shown. I don't claim to know them fully. Okay, so I must admit that this video series made me feel quite overwhelmed when content planning because there is so much I can talk about and feel passionate talking about. So this might be a bit of a long one, but sit tight, and I hope is as interesting for you as it was for me to process. So, Lexi versus Vanessa. Interestingly, there was actually a lot of initial attraction between Lexi and Vanessa during the speed dating week.
It's really looking at you. You're beautiful. She's hot. Did I say that? She's hot.
I feel like when I first saw Vanessa, I thought we were gonna clash because we have very extroverted personalities. But as I'm talking to her more, I feel very comfortable with her. There's flirtiness and fun.
In addition to their physical attraction for each other, I think with these two, they were drawn together because they were aspirations of each other. Your aspiration is a personality type that shares exactly the same cognitive functions as you, but in the upside down order. Your subconscious lower functions are their dominant higher functions and vice versa. So there's actually a lot of initial chemistry between aspirations because they see a big part of themselves in the other person. The vibe that other person exudes is what they themselves aspire to be. You can see this when Lexi and Vanessa were trying to imagine and guess each other's characteristics.
You have a bubbly personality. You seem like you could talk to anyone, and I think that's a really great thing. Okay, those are all the things I know about
That was
you so
very,
far.
very spot on. Her energy is awesome. It's helping make this experience because amidst all of the weight of this, you need the light, and you definitely have that
Wow. I'm so glad we went to this route. I feel like I'm always taking care of things. I don't want to have to fight battles for another adult.
I have my shit sorted. I am a protector, provider type, and I have not dated anybody who's I can get this done.
Yes.
Not even just for me, but for themselves/us.
I totally get that.
This gave away that Vanessa deep down wants to be taken more seriously and have a respectable presence like Lexi does, whilst Lexi deep down wants to be seen as more extroverted, warm, and fun like Vanessa. I think they were both genuinely flattered by the other person's first impressions of them. And we would be really flattered if our own aspiration approves of us. If Lexi and Vanessa took a pop culture version of the Myers-Briggs self-test, they would both strongly agree that they are good at imagining and speculation, and the test result would reflect this, labeling them both as intuitive. Yet they have very different personality types and very different relationships and styles of intuition. This is a great example of why I prefer to define the personality types based on what cognitive function pairs you have and in what order. In this case, extroverted sensing SE is paired with introverted intuition NI. The reality is that we all have intuition. We all have one N function, the intuitive function, and one sensing function, the S function, because we all use real-life experiences and the physical reality, which is sensing, to then draw out patterns and underlying meaning and to project the possibilities, which is intuition. Knowing that there are different styles and relationships towards intuition, we can then appreciate how differently Vanessa and Lexi perceive and process the physical reality, the events that happen around them. You could even argue that they almost live in very different realities as a result, leading to friction. So Lexi and Vanessa's relationship went really downhill after the park bench conversation. So before I explain further, remember that we, the audience, do not require that much intuition in order to work out who the real Vanessa is. The producers have shown us with the show how Vanessa can be arrogant, selfish, and often emotionally manipulative.
It's so shitty to say, but like, let's not hold ourselves back.
I kind of don't want to do this anymore. Let's just be together.
You know, don't get mad at me if I like someone.
She is also reckless. She has no problems with flirting with Mal in front of their respective partners, meaning Yoli and Xander.
I'm very excited to begin dating new people. People fall in love with me pretty easily. It's like, game on. Mal, cheers to our trial marriage.
They're cute.
She also has no problems dating two people that come from the same couple, namely Lexi and Ray, and uses the same lines on both of them, hoping that they would fight over her.
You're throwing me for a loop.
Good. I swear, I think I've been referring to you as like a curveball.
So what are we gonna do?
I don't know. I think I objectively say I would like to go on a date with you tomorrow.
Absolutely same. You are someone that I never thought I would be interested in, not because you're not beautiful, you are stunning, but I just didn't think you would be my type. But when we were sitting on the towels, I was like, oh my God, I like this girl so much.
Me too.
My ex is my competition, which is very weird.
But for the cast of the show, at the time, they are not all seeing like the audience. They can only rely on their own personal experiences of Vanessa in order to judge who she is. And Lexi is actually the first person to spot her true colors. So the park bench conversation. At the start, I think Lexi basically got emotionally slapped by Vanessa because Lexi was actually being really open and vulnerable towards Vanessa, explaining how she's attracted to her, sharing that this budding intimacy is scary for her because it can potentially risk her relationship with Ray, who she had intended to marry.
There's just something about her that I can't seem to figure out. And for somebody that likes control and like answers, that's extremely unnerving. Obviously, I am attracted to you. I feel like I'm growing to trust you. I don't know, yeah, I'm gonna drink about it, but I could imagine like growing closer to you, and that's obviously very scary for me, being aware of that while like having an ex here.
That you want to marry.
Which is a mindfuck.
This is Lexi using her feeling function, FI, introverted feeling, and it's a subconscious lower function. And with these functions, it takes us that little bit more mental energy to use and will also feel a bit more vulnerable to use compared to someone who has feeling dominant. It's showing me that at this point, Lexi is starting to trust Vanessa. But instead of showing understanding and responding to Lexi's vulnerability, Vanessa actually doubles down on expressing her own FI, introverted feeling, which is expressing her own values that completely clash with Lexi's.
You have so much stability in your life, I feel like. I don't have any desire to have.
Do you think you want to be with somebody who has stability?
She basically low-key trashes Lexi's values of marriage and commitment, and at the same time tries to fish for affirmation and more compliments from Lexi for herself with questions like, oh, where do you see us in 5 years? How do you feel about marrying me? When Vanessa has no intention to be long-term with anybody at this point. So now Lexi's offended, and because her own biggest question about Vanessa was whether Vanessa's open to the idea of marriage at all. So then Lexi begins her line of questioning to suss out the underlying reason why Vanessa's even here in this experiment. Vanessa, probably really enjoying and excited about the opportunity to talk about herself, blurts out the whole truth.
And my ex, she was the closest to marriage I feel like I could get. But I just feel like when I get bored, I'm like, okay, I'm bored.
Do you feel like there was like an actual chance that Xander could find someone else?
No. Xander has been saying she might be asexual and that I'm the only one that she could have feelings for. She would be asexual if not for me.
1, she's mainly there to try someone new with no strings attached. 2, that it's a very firm hell no for her in terms of marriage in general. And lastly, she thinks her partner Xander has zero chance of ever finding someone else, that Xander is just waiting for her. With that confession, watch how beautifully Lexi then strings everything together to conclude.
What the fuck did you come here for?
Well, I think I don't understand. Why is that upsetting you?
The experience was 10 people coming here, opened and ready to accept not just the possibility of a marriage proposal and what that commitment might mean, but also to the possibility of meeting other people here who you could find something with. Your brain, your heart, your mind seem very shut off to this process.
And why is that?
You're not risking anything. You didn't think she could be attracted to anyone else. I just can't see how it's genuine.
She basically realizes that Vanessa is dangerous in this process for everyone else involved because she feels that she has nothing to lose. This process is a dangerous experiment. You're basically agreeing for your partner of a serious relationship to date and live with someone else that they are attracted to for a month, and possibly risking that they'll realize that they don't want you anymore. With that in mind, there has to be a trust between you and the other people with you in this arena, that everyone is risking that same danger, the danger of ending and losing a serious relationship. And therefore, everyone is going to tread carefully when making decisions because they understand the emotional severity of the consequences. However, this is not the case with Vanessa at this point of the series. Even though Vanessa's perceived zero risk of losing Xander turns out to be completely naive and delusional, at this point, Vanessa is convinced that Xander will always be there, that Xander will never leave her. There is zero chance of losing this relationship. And therefore, all her decision making does not take into account the severity of the consequences. She is basically, as Lexi says, a bull in a china shop, thinking she can have fun messing around with relationship without realizing the emotional pain that she can potentially cause for others and herself.
Vanessa is bull in a china shop. She's wildly inappropriate and slightly offensive. She probably could kill me in my sleep.
Upon this realization about Vanessa, it's like the floodgates open in Lexi's mind. She begins to project what's going to happen in the show and beyond the show, which is why she was so upset.
I will never have to look that girl in the face, but somebody else will have to for the next 3 weeks. Likely my ex-girlfriend, and I'm angry about that.
Because the way introverted intuition as a top function works, so this function is called NI Hero, is that it projects far into the future. One trigger makes them see all the way till the end. Because she now knows how reckless Vanessa is, and because Lexi has also outed her openly, Lexi now knows that Vanessa is going to gun for her partner Ray extra hard as a trial partner. Ray is going to fall for it, and Ray choosing Vanessa would be infuriating and terrifying for Lexi.
I think I have a physical attraction to Vanessa.
Right.
Like 3 weeks would be fun.
I'm a little stressed about that. I think Vanessa is like a song and dance in this experience. I'm also strongly concerned about like motives for being here.
It would fundamentally change how Lexi sees Ray as a person. Lexi would not be able to respect Ray after this because she can't trust Ray's judgment of character. She'll think, do I want to be with Ray if she's attracted to someone like Vanessa, that she doesn't see the truth about Vanessa? Not to mention the painful feelings of betrayal. Lexi basically already sees the end of their relationship.
I think I've been stressed because like my gut's been saying like something's gonna like blow our shit up. and this like feels like it.
And Vanessa will be the atomic bomb that blows them up.
Lives are gonna blow up.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're gonna be my atomic bomb.
Duh.
What we need to understand about NI Hero is that their perceived future is their reality. NI as a function projects the possibilities, but it always leans towards one of these possibilities with more certainty. NI goes straight to what is most likely to happen, goes straight to the most likely intention and meaning behind something. And as a dominant function, this projection is in their consciousness. They can't ignore it. NI dominant types do not feel like they're in their head with their intuition. It's their reality. They behave as if what they've projected has already manifested, has already happened. With Lexi's NI Hero, it also means that her fourth function is XE, extraverted sensing. And our fourth function can be quite on and off and reluctant because it takes the most mental energy for us to use. And SE, extraverted sensing, is the function that captures what is actually happening and what has physically manifested. Therefore, Lexi's tendency would be to stick to her NI, which is her foregone conclusion. She's not going to naturally wait around and see what happens and give people and the situation a chance to change, which would be using SE. However, lucky for Ray, her partner, the show setup itself forces Lexi to stick around and go through the rest of the process. So Ray does have another chance because people who live in the future tend to forget the past if you wait long enough, especially if their bad memories are not triggered, namely in this case, not having to see Vanessa. Unlucky for Ray, the reunion brought back Fingergate. On the flip side, you can also say that NI projections could be a self-fulfilling prophecy. Let's say in this situation, if Lexi never confronted Vanessa and told her and the group that she thinks Vanessa has bad intentions, would Vanessa be as enthusiastic about pursuing Ray? Would Vanessa have slept with Ray to get back at Lexi? And therefore, was Lexi the cause of her own nightmare?
I hate that it feels like it's all on me.
What do you mean?
If I had never figured Vanessa out, if she ever would have slept with Ray.
What? Do you think that she's out to get you?
Yeah.
In contrast, Vanessa is a very different personality type from Lexi. Instead of the projected future being her reality, the present is her reality. Vanessa is SC, extroverted sensing hero. So she reacts moment by moment and adjusts her decisions and feelings depending on what is happening in the present. So at the start of the show, when Xander was literally begging her not to continue on this process, she behaves arrogantly and recklessly because she doesn't think she can lose Xander. And then when she realizes that Xander is attracted to Yoli, that reality hits and then she starts feeling afraid.
I don't even know who you've been going on dates with.
I think you're gonna be like pretty surprised, but like, it's Yoli.
Xander came into this telling me I was the one. And I think tonight was the moment that I realized that I'm not the one for Xander. I cannot stop.
And then further, when Ray distances herself after their 3-week trial, again, Vanessa adjusts her feelings and expectations and comes crawling back to Xander full force.
I do have to go over there.
Are you avoiding me, Ray?
I'm not.
You are?
avoiding me? Maybe.
I love you and I want to be with you. I mean, I want to end up with you. I would love that. That would be my ideal end to not this experience, but like life.
This is how SE Hero interacts and processes reality. It's changeable, it's adaptable, and it constantly updates. Another idea I'd like to explain here is why intuitive dominant types are hard to understand. Why have all this power of projection, connecting the dots, but nobody believing in them, nobody getting them? The N-dominant type's Achilles heel is their low sensing function. The lower sensing function means that they tend to neglect incorporating the concrete evidence and events to back up and support what their intuition tells them. And it's because what they project, their intuition, is clear as day to an N dominant type. It's so obvious that they think, why do I need to explain further? Why do people need me to elaborate, give more examples on what is so obvious? And with our dominant functions, it's obvious to us and we find it easy to use in terms of mental energy flow, that we take it for granted and think it's easy and obvious to everyone else. But knowing personality types, it's clearly not the case. And I see how Lexi struggles to convince the entire group about Vanessa. This is because she does not include any concrete evidence of what happened at the park bench conversation.
I have concerns for my ex in this process. I don't think you're here for the right reasons.
What reasons do you think I'm here for?
I think genuinely that you came into this process thinking that there was about a 0.001% chance that Xander would have any sort of connections with other people, because a part of it is supposed to be the potential that we romantically connect with someone else.
She doesn't quote Vanessa. She doesn't present her argument with things like, I asked Vanessa this, and then she responded this, and therefore I came to this conclusion. Her statements about Vanessa end up at best seeming like just speculation out of nowhere. Notice how Mildred helps Lexi out by providing the SE concrete evidence of Vanessa's behavior, namely what Vanessa actually did and said.
And I want to add to that, Lexi, you've been telling Xander to fuck off all night, and it's hurting all of us, but you.
It is.
And that should just say so much.
It's hurting who?
Everyone.
Lexi's personality type also does not actually have any functions that are there to help other people understand their points better. NI, introverted intuition, goes straight to the end without saying how it got there. TE, extroverted thinking, concludes the facts without feeling the need to give more context. FI, introverted feeling, is my personal emotions that I don't feel I need to justify. And SE, extroverted sensing, as a fourth function, means that it takes too much energy to try to recall concrete examples and detail what actually happened. And in this scene, only Mildred and Yoli back Lexi up because they both have had first-hand experiences of Vanessa's bad behavior. So they're not hard to convince. Whereas I see nobody else seeming to be convinced by Lexi, not Ray, not even Xander.
How do you know that her and Ray would not be able to figure out something together that could make our partners want to be with us?
In looking towards the future, I think she'd be a good wife.
My love.
I'm choosing Vanessa.
And Lexi ended up having to back down, frustratingly, even though she is proven correct by the end of the process.
I do trust you. I hope that you know that. I do trust you.
I know you do.
You're not the
But
person I
just
don't
wanted to,
trust
like,
in this scenario. If it does get to the point where you do spend time with my ex, I hope that you get what you need to out of it, and I hope she gets what she needs to out of it, because I think she and I have a lot to learn in this process, things that we both came here to do.
So thanks for making it this far, and let me leave this food for thought to end. I've said here that Lexi's reality is her projected future. That future being Ray's betrayal with Vanessa, leading up to the breakdown of trust and respect, and therefore the end of their relationship. And I noticed that Lexi behaved as though Ray had already betrayed her before anyone has even chosen their trial partner. She also projected her fears onto Ray and accused Ray that she's also here just to mess around with people like Vanessa was.
That, like, I am good. I do bring a lot to the table. I help people realize why marriage is something they could be ready for, whether it's with me or with someone else. But your time here seems to have encompassed, like, a good bit of, like, do I want to just fuck around with someone? And that could be fun.
I really wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for her, because this is like super out of my comfort zone, and like, this is hard.
To be fair to Ray, technically at that stage of the process, Ray's not done anything out of line yet. I mean, if we're talking about her going on dates with Vanessa, literally not long ago, Lexi herself was going on dates with Vanessa. But my point is that Lexi had already pronounced Ray guilty before she's even done the crime, if you can call Fingergate a crime. The fact that Ray is attracted and even thinking about choosing Vanessa as a trial partner is enough to sentence her. Thus, we can argue that N-dominant types are easily spooked. We can even argue that they are a bit like the thought police. For an intuitive dominant type, the intent is sufficient for them to conclude you, for them to sentence you. The actions are almost secondary. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you found it helpful and interesting. Please like and subscribe to support my channel. And if you'd like to analyze your own personality type and explore how that may affect your decision making, your communication, and relationship with others, then please find booking details in the description box below.